So we're going to talk ChatGPT and brainstorming now.
All right. So before you dig into ChatGPT, it is good to have a few things sorted out for yourself to make things easier to know what you're actually looking for, right? So first of all, you need to define the learning objective of your workbook. So you know what you want your customers to achieve by filling it out. So you determine the objective, and once you know the objective, then you move on to the next step. And the next step is to consider the level of difficulty of your worksheet. So who is your target audience? Are they beginners, intermediary, or advanced at an advanced level? And when you construct your worksheet, make sure it hits them right. So a beginner should have a beginner's worksheet rather than advanced, because that's the order that it should be. And then you need to think about different questions or types of questions that you can include to keep people engaged and learn the material that you have. Some ideas of what type of questions that you can use. You can include multiple choice, fill in the blank, short answers, matching answers with each other. And you can also, actually, this is very important, use diagrams, charts, concepts, tables, anything, any concept or any system or idea that you're trying to teach them, add it in a form of a diagram, chart, or a table, and then include questions below so that they can, answer the key points, and then basically you rehearse it and it sticks with them, right? And then always be ready to provide clear instructions. So most Canva templates don't actually provide clear instructions. The one that we made that you will have access to will have a section for instructions.
Prompts. Yeah, we added that in. Yeah, most of the sheets you'll see, they don't have to say anything at the top, and like the person's supposed to guess.
Yeah.
But I guess it's because it's a template.
Yeah, but it's easy to add. And at the same time, you can use ChatGPT to come up with more instructions to add to the document itself. Right?
Actually, ChatGPT is great for coming up with instructions if you tell it specifically what you're working.
So I'm going to show you a short live example on how to use ChatGPT to brainstorm ideas for your workbook. But before we do that, let's explore the keys to a successful ChatGPT brainstorming. So the first thing that you need to do, you need to treat it just like a regular conversation, as if you're having a conversation with an expert or an assistant. You ask them a question, they come up with an answer. You ask follow-up questions based on the answers that you get. And then the second thing that you need to do is to correct it whenever it doesn't understand you, because sometimes you ask it questions, but you need to rephrase it for ChatGPT to understand what your question is about. And you need to also dig deeper into the specific things that it shares with you. Obviously, you are the expert, so you need to verify, fact check all the output that ChatGPT gives you. Because if you don't do it, then you're not going to provide people with actual value, right? And they might even get injured or something like that, and it becomes a liability. Because you're the expert, screen through the results and the answers that you get from ChatGPT, and then verify and make sure that they actually are valuable inputs.
Yeah, and if you know the subject matter, then you'll be able to tell like the things that would need to be checked and stuff like that. But it's important. It's an important step to take. A lot of people think like they're going to go to ChatGPT and like write me an article on la la la, and it's going to be perfect. It's not. It's going to be probably not that great, right? It's like Yusef said, it's a conversation.
Yeah, totally.
I should use the mouse. Are we ready?
Yeah. So an example of ChatGPT prompts that you can use when you brainstorm in your process. So I gave you examples. So 1, 2, 3. So in the first one, if I wanted to create a workbook that helps blank to become more blank, what kind of worksheet would you suggest? So here you can add, let's say, if I want to create a workbook that helps soccer players to become more flexible, what kind of worksheets would you suggest? You put it into ChatGPT, and then it gives you an answer, and then you follow up maybe with another question or prompt. Help me create a comprehensive stretching routine, daily stretching routine, tailored specifically to, the needs of soccer players that aim to become flexible, or basketball players, you name it, you just fill in the blank. and also create a blank, daily, let's say a 30-minute daily blank stretch routine tailored towards specifically whatever athlete, depending on what you're teaching, of course.
Mhm.
So the example that we're going to run here through ChatGPT, I'm going to share it with the screen. So we're going to assume that you're a flexibility and a body movement coach, and you're trying to create a workbook that help soccer players become more flexible and reduce their chances of getting injured. So the first thing that you would do is obviously you enter the first prompt. It doesn't have to be this prompt, but anything that is within the lines of this one. So if I wanted to create a workbook that helps soccer athletes become more flexible, what kind of worksheets would you suggest? So let's just
You want to go to,
yeah,
I believe there.
yeah, let's do this. Let me just move this a little bit.
That's all you.
All right.
I know it's always in the way. You got to move us.
Okay, so obviously I'll save the prompts here to save us time. So I'm just going to start a new chat here and just enter the first prompt. And once you do it, if I wanted to create a workbook that helps soccer players become more flexible, what kind of worksheets would you suggest? And as you can see here, ChatGPT gave me multiple things that I can add, 8 points. So the first one is stretching exercises. Create a worksheet that demonstrate different stretching exercises specifically tailored for soccer players. The other one is targeted muscle groups. It's another thing. Weekly flexibility plan, flexibility assessment, stretching log, injury prevention, partner stretching. So these are the multiple different ideas of worksheets that ChatGPT basically.
Yeah, and you could tell them how many you want as well, and like they can give you more. And
exactly. So what you need to do now is just hit it with a follow-up question. So what would be a follow-up question? All you got to do is just like take any of these titles, let's say stretching exercises, which is for one of the worksheets. Just put it down here and then come back to your prompt. Let's say here, second prompt, help me create a comprehensive stretching routine. And then help me create comprehensive. And then you just add it here. Help me create comprehensive exercises tailored towards specific needs for a soccer player. And again, it will give you different exercises that you can do to increase flexibility. It will answer that question, right? So you go through it, write some notes. Maybe you can add some stuff to it, fact check some of the things. You can even you can put in the same prompt, but just use a different title that it gave you in the initial search, right?
Yeah.
And then it will give you results. So I'm not going to do everything here in front of you. So I'm just going to show you one that I've saved up here so we can just follow the steps. So first I asked it basically to create a workbook for, to help soccer players become more flexible, what kind of worksheets it would suggest. And then it gave me all the answers, right? So the follow-up question that I asked was, help me create a comprehensive stretching routine tracker tailored specifically to the needs of a soccer player. And that one, I took it basically from here, right? One of the titles. So I got I got a bunch of response here of the things that you can do. So go through them. If this is your area of expertise, make sure that what it's suggesting is actually accurate. You can change it based on however your expertise and what you like and to add and what not to add. But this is the idea. And then once you get this, you can also ask it to, help, like I did in this case, help me create comprehensive stretching techniques tailored specifically to the needs of soccer players. So you can see it gave me a list of different techniques, stretching techniques that a person can do, right? And then I went one step further and asked it to help me create a worksheet with questions for stretching technique tailored to specific needs of soccer players, right? So I got basically the result here, stretching technique worksheet. worksheet. Dynamic stretching. If you taught it in your class, then you ask them the question, let's say, list 3 dynamic stretching exercises that you can incorporate into your warm-up routine, 1, 2, 3. So this could be added to your worksheet, right? So, as you can see, there are so many different ideas. And what you can actually do is later on turn this into a checklist too, right? So have you done your dynamic stretching today?
Yeah.
Right. So and then you leave a little box right next to it, and then they can check it whenever they perform a certain act. Did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm thinking about like when I did something like this, and I did it on like managing your finances, right? And then it gave me questions like this that are sort of testing your knowledge, and which is not necessarily what I was looking. Let me just find, I don't need to show the screen, but just to refresh my memory. There it is. Like, no, apparently it's not there. Oh, maybe it is. Knowledge. No, okay. Sorry. I probably could explain it without looking it up, but I want to have the refresher. So I asked it kind of like, okay, so when it said like, it started by giving me questions. So I said, this is what I asked. So I said, one of the things, because when I was talking to ChatGPT and I treat it like a conversation, I said, one of the things you mentioned about workbooks yesterday, and then as you could see, like you create all your little conversations here, you can go back and continue, right? So I went back to a conversation I had, and I said, one of the things is you mentioned multiple choice. What kind of multiple choice questions would you include on any of the budgeting I was talking about budgeting worksheet items you mentioned above? And then it gave me a bunch of questions, more like testing knowledge, like which of the following is an example of a source of passive income? And then it gave blah, blah, blah. So I said, well, I said that those are a lot of great quiz type questions that, but I said that they can reinforce concepts, and it's more like a quiz if you want to teach a class, but we want them to think about how budgeting applies to their own life. Are there multiple choice questions you'd suggest? I'm very wordy, like I'm actually talking to a person. Multiple choice questions you'd suggest that would get them thinking more about how they spend their money. And she said, yes, you're right. That's important to get learners to think about that. It's very nice to me and kind. Yeah. But then she says, so, in the last month, how much money did you spend on non-essential items? And then it started doing questions like that were more probing into that person as opposed to just testing knowledge. So that's like the thing about like when it doesn't always understand exactly what you're looking for, you can always redirect it, because it's just it's saying what we probably are literally saying, and it doesn't understand the nuances, which is why you have to keep digging further.
Yeah, because it's got a processor but not a brain. So.
Yes.
A fast processor. So
that's a lot, and has a photographic memory. That is an amazing thing to have on your team. And
if you guys wonder which blog post she's referring to or article, we will include it in the description section, and perhaps where else can we include it so that they can have it?
We'll just put it in the description on the video. So like a lot of people are asking, will we be able to listen to this later? Yes, it will be on our channel. You'll go under live and you'll be able to see it there. So link to the document with the prompts too.
Yeah, sure. That? Yeah, we can do that. Link with the documents
with prompts, and then the blog post.
Because I thought of adding
write this down.
Yeah, did you close the blog post already?
Oh, you wanted? Oh, we don't. That's okay.
Yeah,
we can do it later. We'll show it later.
Yeah, we'll show it later.
We're still talking.
All right, so I guess we're going back to the slides.
Okay.
This is not
slideshow, and then start play from current slide. No.
Oh my
Exit.
God. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm not a big fan of Mac computers. As you can see, I have PC.
I know you
I
should.
love my PC.
And you should see when I try to use it. I'm like, if I can't use the mouse, I can't. I need help. And he has to like click things for me because I'm so out of practice with that. So here we go. No, I'm gonna do it wrong. So I don't. Any questions about the ChatGPT part? I don't know why I find that hard to say sometimes. And we can keep going. We'll show you the blog post where you can refer to stuff. We'll also show you the link with Yusef's document and stuff like that. All right, PC all the way. I was PC until I wasn't, and now I can't go back. I'm just like, I'm not teachable anymore. I can never have a PC again. Yeah, see, when I kept telling you guys I'm not very technical, it's actually quite true. All right, so I think we're okay.
If you want to watch the entire video, then click here. And if you want to watch another short clip from the same video, then click here.